Hello friends, today we are going to start with the last chapter in the subject health education. The name of the chapter is epidemiology. First we will see the definition of this term, as the definition is also very important. The meaning of epidemiology, as this word is derived from the Greek word epidemic. So epi means among or upon, demos means people, and logos means study. So epidemiology deals with the aspect of the study among the people. Now what type of study is carried out? So this study is regarding diseases, isn't it? So epidemiology, in short we can say, is a science which deals with study of diseases in people or among the people or in human population. Now the appropriate definition also we will see before going into the detail, isn't it? Now the study of diseases among the people, these people may be living, we can take a particular village area or a city or country or whole world also, isn't it? Or a district level also the study can be carried out, isn't it? There are a number of definitions. Now one of the appropriate definition of epidemiology we will see that it is a detailed scientific and systematic study of distribution and determinants of disease or disability in society, isn't it? You can refer textbook while listening online lectures, isn't it? So that will be beneficial for you, isn't it? Again I repeat the definition of epidemiology, that it is a detailed scientific study of distribution and determinants of disease or any disability in the society, isn't it? Now this diseases can emerge as a epidemic, or it may be endemic, or it may be pandemic also. Now the next part is the uses, or we can say scope of epidemiology. What is the scope? What is the importance? Isn't it? So here just 4 points are given, but I will explain you in detail what is the scope of epidemiology, isn't it? Now here it is given to study historically the rise and fall of disease in the population. So how the disease is increasing, then how it is getting controlled, isn't it? Then this epidemiology will also include the diagnosis in the community, isn't it? Proper diagnosis of that particular disease. Then planning and evaluation, isn't it? Proper planning is to be done so that the percentage of that particular disease can be reduced, isn't it? Then evaluation of individual risk and chances, isn't it? So among the individuals also this study is carried out, isn't it? Now historically, if we take into consideration, so history of disease can be studied in relation to rise and fall, isn't it? Also, what is the role of disease agent, what is the role of host, that is the subject, and what is the role of environment, isn't it? We have seen many times that these are the three main factors which are responsible for spread of disease: disease agent, host, and environment. So regarding these factors also, this study can be carried out under this branch. Also it helps in study of types of diseases which are very common in community, isn't it? Which are occurring again and again, isn't it? So that also can be studied. Then epidemiology also helps to diagnose the health problems of the community, isn't it? By studying occurrence of the disease, how it is getting distributed, in which age group it is getting distributed, isn't it? Then whether it is more common in males or females, isn't it? Which occupation is responsible for spread of the disease, isn't it? So all these aspects can be studied. Then it also helps to find out the mortality rate and morbidity rate which is due to that particular disease, isn't it? This also can be studied. Then this epidemiology is also beneficial to collect the various data, isn't it, from different sources, isn't it, which will help in studying the multiple factors which are responsible for spread of the disease, isn't it? Then this epidemiology also helps in research and experimental study in the field of medical science, isn't it? So more and more research can be done, various experimental studies are carried out to find out a proper treatment for a particular disease, isn't it? And also minimize the occurrence of that disease in the society. Then this epidemiology also helps to forecast future trends, means in future what is the chance of that particular disease to get prevalent, isn't it? So just like a particular weather report is given, isn't it, for a particular season, isn't it? So similarly a future forecast can also be done, isn't it? Now why this forecast is done? So that to take preventive measures against that particular disease, isn't it? We know that in rainy season malaria is common, isn't it? Then in winter season typhoid is common. So these diseases in that particular season, they are controlled by taking preventive measures, isn't it? And the incidence of that particular disease is reduced. So that is the use and scope of epidemiology. So this is diagrammatically just to make you understand the other important uses of epidemiology, like identify the causes of the disease, isn't it? By epidemiology we can study the various causes, and those causes can be blocked to minimize the spread of that particular disease. Okay, then this epidemiology also helps to describe the health status of the population. So how, in what percentage the people are healthy, isn't it? That also can also be studied by this epidemiology. Then to control the disease transmission, so by studying these various data, by collecting all this data, we can also be able to control the spread or transmission of the disease. Then by this epidemiology we can also go for planning, implementing, evaluating health programs. So various health programs are developed, and those health programs are based on the study that is carried out regarding the diseases, isn't it? And the information, the data that is available, based on that the health programs are developed, isn't it? And they are then properly prepared, and they are then implemented in the various sectors, isn't it, for the benefit of the people. Now before going in the another topic in this chapter, we will see some important terms which are used frequently, and also the definitions which are asked in examination, isn't it? So most of the definitions you might be knowing also, and if you are not knowing, so they are getting covered here. One is infection. Now the meaning of infection is the entry and development or multiplication of infectious agent in the body of man or animal, isn't it? So that is the meaning of infection, isn't it? The entry and development of infectious agent inside the body. Now this may be inside the man or it may be inside the animal also, and then those animals can spread the disease in human beings also, isn't it? So that is the meaning of infection. Then the next is contamination, isn't it? The presence of infectious agent on body surface, isn't it? Now this may be either body surface or it may be on the clothes or it may be on the beddings, isn't it? Or it may be on the toys or surgical instruments or dressings or substances, or it may be on the eatables also, isn't it? So many eatables are there, isn't it? It may be water, milk, or whatever the food articles are there. So that is the meaning of contamination. So through all these articles, there are chances that infectious agent may enter inside the body. Now infestation. Infestation means those articles which give shelter to animal farms, especially arthropods and rodents, isn't it? So now again, if we go in detail, so the other meaning of infestation is the lodging or development or reproduction of disease producing agent on the surface of the body, isn't it? Or in the intestine, isn't it? So infestation, we can say that when the diseases are due to arthropods or rodents, isn't it? So those may be called as infestations. The other definition is epidemic. Now these terms you must know so that the difference also you will get easily. Epidemic, endemic and pandemic, isn't it? So epidemic is that sudden outbreak of infectious agent that spreads rapidly through the population, affecting large number of the people in short period of time, isn't it? So we can say that the widespread occurrence of infectious agent in community, isn't it, is also called epidemic, isn't it? Then endemic means when infectious agent is more or less prevalent in particular locality or community, isn't it? So endemic means constant presence of disease or infectious agent within given geographical area or given population group, isn't it? It is not getting spread more rapidly, isn't it? Okay, so endemic means which is restricted to particular locality or area, isn't it? And epidemic which will be spreading from that one area to another area, from one locality to another locality, isn't it? So common cold, we can say it is a endemic, isn't it? Then sporadic. Now sporadic means scattered about. The cases occur irregularly, indiscriminately, haphazardly, from time to time, and generally infrequently, isn't it? The cases are few and separated widely in space and time, that they show little or no connection with each other, isn't it? Nor a recognizable common source of infection, isn't it? So we can say that the sporadic disease occurs at intervals, isn't it? And in single, or it may be in isolated cases, isn't it? And the sporadic disease may become epidemic also. Then other term is pandemic. So an epidemic usually affecting a large proportion of population, occurring over wide geographic area such as section of nation or entire nation or a continent or a world, isn't it? So here we can take example of COVID-19, which is a example we can give in pandemic, isn't it? So corona disease is pandemic in nature, isn't it? So when an epidemic spreads from one country to another or even whole world, affecting most of the population, isn't it? So here we can take another example of AIDS also, which is a pandemic in nature. The other term is incubation period, and this definition we have studied in the very first chapter, concept of health, isn't it? So when we have discussed the second part of the chapter, that is concept of disease, isn't it, where there were two phases of the disease, pre-pathogenic phase and pathogenic phase, isn't it? So incubation period is the time interval between entry of disease agent into the body of the person to the appearance of first sign and symptom of the disease. That is called incubation period. The other term is reservoir, isn't it? Now, reservoir means the habitat or the place for living where an infectious agent living grows and multiplies. That is the meaning of reservoir. Then contagious also you must know. So simply we can say contagious or infectious, isn't it? So infectious, infection meaning which is spreading, isn't it, from one person to another. So contagious means a disease that is transmitted through contact, isn't it? So here again, if we go in detail little bit, if deeply if we compare infectious and contagious. So contagious meaning when the person is coming in close contact, isn't it, with anyone, isn't it? So that disease can be spread from that person, one person to another. So here we can take example of sexually transmitted diseases, isn't it, and leprosy. Then other term is fomites, and fomites we have discussed in the chapter communicable diseases, isn't it? So there we have seen that in respiratory tract infection, three main common modes of spread are there of diseases. One is direct contact, other is droplet infection, and fomites. Fomites which are recently contaminated with the discharges or secretions of the patient, isn't it? So fomites means what? Ki these are inanimate articles, non-living, inanimate. Whatever the articles are there which are other than food or water, isn't it? For example, the articles which are used by patient like clothes, towel, handkerchief, pen, isn't it? All utensils, isn't it? The beddings and all that, isn't it, which are used by the patient. So they are contaminated by discharges of the patient and they can act as a source of infection for healthy person. That is the meaning of fomites. Then vector. This vector also we have studied in communicable diseases, where one of the class of diseases was arthropod borne diseases, isn't it? So the vector usually it is a arthropod, isn't it? For example, mosquito, which transfers infectious agent from infected person to healthy person, isn't it? So arthropod borne diseases, arthropods we can call, these are the vectors, isn't it? And most of the diseases are vector borne diseases or vector borne infections like malaria, plague, filariasis, isn't it? Different vectors, different arthropods are responsible for the spread of disease. So here we have finished the first lecture, and here we have started with this chapter epidemiology, where definition and scope or importance of epidemiology we have discussed, isn't it? Next time we will go a little bit deeper, isn't it, and we will cover the other topics which are important, isn't it, in this chapter. Thank you.